For years, this division has been football's wild card. But one thing is for certain, you should absolutely never sleep on the NFC West. The Rams have quietly built themselves into a contender behind Sean McVay's brilliance.
We all know what we're here for, who we're playing for tonight. Bring it home. Let's go. Win on three. 1, 2, 3. Win.
The 49ers are desperate to prove their dynasty window isn't closed.
He's into the end zone. Touchdown 49ers.
The Cardinals are sitting on one of the most explosive young rosters in football. And the Seahawks, they might be the most dangerous dark horse in the league.
Reaching up one hand. Touchdown.
4 genius head coaches, 4 talented quarterbacks, and 4 fan bases dreaming of Super Bowl 60. The question's simple though, which of these teams is about to absolutely shock the NFL? Now, of course, we have to start with the Los Angeles Rams that are coming off arguably the most underrated season out of anybody from last year in 2024. With an aging Matthew Stafford at quarterback and a defense made up of almost entirely of players on rookie contracts and mercenary deals, the team put together a second straight 10-win season to claim the division crown and return to the playoffs. There, they took out the Vikings and gave the Eagles the hardest game they'd play on the road to their championship game. The recipe for LA was pretty layered last year though. On offense, Kyren Williams was the straw that stirred the drink with 1,300 yards rushing and 14 touchdowns, and bought lots of time and quality looks for 36-year-old Matt Stafford, who then connected as well as ever with second-year Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, who staved off the age cliff for one more year. That wide receiver duo combined for 1,700 yards and 9 touchdowns through the air, only hampered by Demarcus Robinson stealing red zone targets. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they probably had one of the scariest pass rush units that was just kind of anywhere in the NFL last year. With Defensive Rookie of the Year Jared Verse leading a D-line made of Kobe Turner, Byron Young, and Braden Fisk, the Rams limited opponents to less than 10 points in each of their last 3 meaningful regular season games, and the great pass rush also took a leap in the postseason, sacking opposing quarterbacks 16 times across 2 games. Entering the offseason too, the priority became to build around the young core while keeping Stafford's window wide open. In order to accomplish both though, Cooper Kupp was released to free up cap space and give Puka Nacua even more attention in the offense. Kyren Williams was also given a lucrative contract extension, rewarding the former 5th rounder for years as a modern bell cow back. They also weren't afraid to spend on quality free agents, bringing in Devontae Adams to be more of a true route running receiver to complement Puka Nacua's slot abilities. They also signed Panua Ford to add even more size and to power their elite D-line as well. Then in the draft, they traded back for a haul from the Falcons, who desperately wanted to move up for pass rusher James Pierce-Jones, and took Terrence Ferguson with their acquired 2nd-round pick. The gifted tight end fits in as almost an immediate starter with Tyler Higbee entering his 10th season after being banged up in 2024. LA also added extra defensive pieces in late rounds and even found another gem for their running back room in Jarquez Hunter, who appears to have caught the eye of head coach Sean McVay. With a running back core of Hunter, Williams, and Blake Corum, the Rams have the opportunity for a strong and varied rushing attack. And well, speaking of Vic Bay, he's kind of just the external X factor of this team. He'll be the Rams head coach basically until he decides otherwise because of how just much of an offensive genius he is, as well as his ability to train incredible assistant coaches. No matter how often his coordinators get poached, he always assembles a great staff and fields a competitive team. LA did have a brief slump after their championship run in 2021, but now they have a team built on the fundamentals. With their elite quarterback, well-built defense, and solid weapons, they should be considered as dangerous as anyone in the league. And yes, even though their lack of depth and questions on the offensive line mean they have a lower floor as the same, this team honestly could make a run for the Super Bowl. Now, as we all know, in football, just every play matters. One missed block, one dropped pass, and the entire game can change. We just saw it this past Saturday. And well, truthfully, life's kind of the same way if you think about it. It's the small details that add up. And well, as you guys know, my motto, look good, feel good. Well, if you want to look good, feel good, play good, then you have to make sure that your face is taken care of. And you guys are in luck because that's where Tej Hanley comes into play, and they have the perfect playbook for skincare. They've got systems for every guy, but the go-to for me is the level 1 system. It's the ultimate starter pack for building a winning routine of taking care of your skin every single day. It is the daily face wash, which clears dirt and oil so your skin stays in top shape. The exfoliating scrub smooths rough spots and keeps pores open for the long season. And then the AM moisturizer with SPF blocks the sun like it's prime Joe Thomas. And I know a lot of us kind of overlook skincare, but truthfully, it takes just 5 minutes and you're gonna have healthier, clearer, and just smoother skin for a longer time also, so you won't get as wrinkly as quick as either. Most importantly too, I'm a guy that doesn't like to do skincare sometimes, but this routine has been so easy to do that because it takes less than 5 minutes, that I've been actually able to do it every single morning. Like I said, it leads to clearer skin, more confidence, and something that I can actually stick to during this season. Because as we all know, just like a team needs consistency, your skin needs that consistency also. So shout out to Tiege Henley for giving my viewers an insane deal right now. You guys are going to get up to 40% off your first box plus a free gift worth $20. Just click my link in the description to get started. Again, up to 40% is absolutely insane what they are giving you guys, along with the free gift up to $20. You guys gotta try this, because when you take care of the fundamentals, the big wins come a whole lot easier. So again, thank you to Tiege Henley for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back into it. Now, the next team we're going to talk about, though, has the most approved in 2025, which is the 49ers.
Let's go!
Step up in the pocket. Fucker got him around the ankles and dropped.
After going to Super Bowl 58, they slumped hard last season, dealing with several injuries and crumbling in big games. They went 6-11, coming in last in the division, and it was pretty disappointing to say the least, considering that they were expecting another deep playoff run, but the same thing happened after the team lost the Super Bowl in 2020, and they bounced back just fine. That being said though, there were many more factors to consider going into this offseason. Offensive output had taken a hit because of injuries to receiver Brandon Ayuk and running backs Christian McCaffrey and backup Jordan Mason throughout the year, but the biggest issue they had to address though was the defense. While Nick Bosa was still himself and Fred Warner still contributed at an elite level, the rest of their top starters dealt with injuries or just down production. Hufanga played just 7 games before missing the rest of the season with injury, and Dre Greenlaw got just 2 after returning from injury before he had to miss the end of the year as well. And then the team was just absolutely gutted in free agency. Both of those guys just mentioned both went to the Broncos to rehab and join an elite defense. Guard Aaron Banks got a long-term deal with the Packers, and corner Javarius Ward, one of the most consistent players for the Niners, went and signed with the Colts. Even quality players like Javon Hargrave and Leonard Floyd left for greener pastures, leaving the defensive cupboards empty and the offense completely depleted as well. To make matters even more complicated though, in order to free up some cap space, the 49ers traded do-it-all weapon Deebo Samuel to the Washington Commanders. And yes, you could argue that Deebo was old, but another offensive loss while Ayuk recovers from ACL repair is just not ideal. In order to make up for all their losses, it seems like San Francisco emphasized taking care of the guys they could keep, pinning extensions for Fred Warner, George Kittle, and Brock Purdy, who got top of the market money despite lackluster results in his 3rd season. And I mean, look, there are definitely still questions surrounding Jawan Jennings' contract, as he wants a raise at the #1 option while he is recovering, but there are guys in the wings like Ricky Pearsall ready to step up as well. The 49ers focused their draft on refreshing their defense around Bosa, adding edge Mikael Williams in the 1st round in order to find another excellent pass rusher. In fact, their first 4 picks were all defensive players before they decided to add depth at receiver and running back. As a whole, I truly think that the 49ers might regret signing Brock Purdy to such a massive extension, but they still have a majority of their supporting cast assembled. And I mean, hell, truthfully, with Kyle Shanahan at the helm, it always is possible for a team like this to make a deep run. The X factor undoubtedly will be the defense, with Robert Saleh brought back to lead the unit, and the ceiling is very high with so much young talent, but there's still just so many questions. Add in the fact too that injuries are just going to ultimately decide whether San Francisco lives or dies in their challenging division, with an aging Trent Williams and CMC hanging on by a thread. So I think truthfully, health is wealth in the Bay this season. Now, moving on to the next team that has truthfully just the biggest range of potential outcomes this season is the Arizona Cardinals, as they keep feeling like they're 1 year away and then something just goes completely sideways.
Kyler Murray, left and rim.
Last year, delayed development for number 4 pick overall Marvin Harrison Jr. kept the offense from reaching its potential, while lacking defensive talent and some red zone struggles kept them squarely in the middle of the league. The good news though, Kyler Murray returned to franchise quarterback form, throwing for 3,800 yards and 21 touchdowns, while James Conner anchored the offense with a 1,000-yard rushing season. Trey McBride also cemented himself as a top 3 tight end with his first 1,000-yard year, although he only caught 1 touchdown. Truthfully, if Marvin Harrison Jr. had broken out immediately like fellow rookies Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, there was a chance that the Cardinals would have been a playoff team last year. And now look, truthfully, the defense was fine. It was led by Budda Baker and schemed up well by head coach Jonathan Gannon, but it was clear that this unit was the focus of the offseason. Like the Niners, Arizona spent almost their entire draft on defense, 6 of their 7 picks. Walter Nolan was their first rounder, taken to lead their defensive line and stuff the run, before Will Johnson was gift wrapped for them at pick 47. The Michigan corner was a consensus top 3 cornerback talent in the class, but plummeted thanks to lingering concerns. And yes, it was a less flashy draft from the Cardinals, but they're refilling their roster with exciting young players across this defense. Like, I mean, truthfully, from top to bottom, the Cardinals roster is in an incredible place. Their entire starting offense is rock solid, including a young and solid offensive line, and their defense has been juiced with extra talent to help their starters look even better than they did in 2024. I mean, look, if Marvin Harrison Jr. can become the receiver that he was projected to be out of Ohio State, this team has a legitimate championship window beginning to crack open. Finally, the last team in this division that we're going to go over is basically the dark horse of all of them. It's the team that everybody really knows is scary, but at the same time, no one really knows how much to actually fear them. Like, the Seattle Seahawks spent 2024 laying the foundations needed to become the NFC's Ravens, and they might be able to deliver on that promise this year. They finished 10-7 and narrowly missed the playoffs with a solid start to the Mike McDonald era, as their defense developed greatly under his scheme, centered around great DB play and a few stars like the returning Ernest Jones. On the offensive side, Geno Smith played well, although his turnovers did rise, while JSN took the step towards being an elite receiver. The running back room also continued dealing with injuries, but the offense was serviceable all in all. That being said though, there was much room for improvement in the offseason, and the combination of McDonald and GM John Snyder was aggressive in finding it. The roster overhaul started by trading away both DK Metcalf and Geno Smith to the Steelers and Raiders, respectively moving off their contract and gathering fresh draft capital. And now, as we all know, they were both needy at quarterback and receiver, so they signed Cooper Kupp fresh off of a divorce with the Rams and brought in Sam Darnold, who had just helped revive his career in Minnesota. The best part about both deals though, I think, is that they both are short-term and relatively cheap, while adding more talent to this already talented team. The final big free agent swing for the Seahawks was for DeMarcus Lawrence, a disgruntled former Cowboy who held down Dallas's pass rush for over a decade. And then when it came to the draft, Seattle basically just went all out. They needed offensive line help, and Snyder broke his rule against drafting interior linemen high, taking freak athlete Gray Zabel from North Dakota State in the first round. And then in the second round, the team traded up to get Nick Amanawari, hoping that his flashy talent and physicality could give McDonald a taste of Kyle Hamilton 2.0. Then they added Elijah Arroyo as their starting tight end, as well as Troy Horton as a potential backup receiver and Damian Martinez as their new running back 3. They then took a flyer on Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe, wondering if he could use his rushing ability to help immediately while developing into a passer as a high-ceiling lottery ticket. And now look, the Seahawks were already a scary team to play in 2024, and they only got better this offseason. Even if you don't believe in Sam Darnold's improvement from last season, he has almost the same setup from Minnesota with an elite defense and great weapons to support him. And that's the thing too, with that defense led by Devon Witherspoon, Byron Murphy, and Leo Williams, they have the potential to allow the fewest points in the league this season. The rest of their roster has such an excellent balance of young talent and veteran leadership that they really just feel too well built to fail. I mean, now look, as we all know, the NFC West is one of the hardest divisions in the NFL to pick every year. Every team has a legitimate case that this could be their year, and each has a reason that they could potentially crash and burn. From quarterbacks and offensive lines to too much reliance on young players, there are so many variables at play in this division. The good news though is that the West has the best collection of head coaches in the league and some of the best talent, meaning that every divisional game has the potential to be an instant classic. As I stated earlier too, I'm taking the Rams to repeat as division champs thanks to their just insane pass rush and the chemistry on their offense. They showed how elite their ceiling is in the playoffs, and I truthfully think that their team construction is better this year after swapping Cooper Kupp for Devontae Adams.